It's Don here from the board. Thanks for coming along and checking out this video. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Keychron K2 mechanical keyboard. Let's not waste too much time, since one of the most regular comments that I get is that my videos are way too long. But you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and you can skip through like most people do if you do find it too long. So the backstory on why I have this keyboard, and it does look pretty beat, is because I actually won it at the Sydney 2019 Mechanical Keyboard Meetup, which was held in December last year, now that it's 2020. And what makes this keyboard very special is the fact that it is also been reviewed, modified slightly, and autographed by TaeKeyboards himself. So I won it in the raffle, and today is actually only the third time I'm going to be opening this box, because I opened it at the meetup to have a look at what I got. I opened it when I got home to show my wife what I won, and today I'm going to be opening it to actually review it proper. Do stay for the end, because I will be having an announcement in regards to what I'm doing with this keyboard as well. So you can skip all the way over to the end if you really want to. You know, just click your way through whatever interesting bits you might see is happening. So as per standard, we're going to have a look at the website to see what the website claims. We're going to have a look at the packaging, going to have a look at the keyboard as best we can, because I did mention that it is actually a modified keyboard, and we'll see how it works, feels, and hopefully how it sounds. So, Keychron K2 sleek, compact, wireless mechanical keyboard. So let's just switch over to my monitor over here, and we can see that this is the Keychron site. Now, I've specifically selected down here the RGB backlit aluminium frame version, and the reason why I've done that is because the outside of the box here, the bright light is kind of making it really hard to see, but it actually says it is the RGB metal red switch. So I'm assuming that means it's the aluminium version that's actually in here. So that's why I've selected it. So you can see it retails for about 89 US, and there's red, browns, and blues as options. Some pretty pictures. It is essentially a sort of, I think it's a 65 or a 75% keyboard. It really just depends, or even a 68, like a Tata 68 style kind of keyboard, depending on who you talk to. Most funded on Kickstarter. Okay, cool. It's a super tactile wireless or wide keyboard. So that's really interesting, because why would you call it tactile if it comes with a red switch, which is linear? It's Bluetooth or with a cable, connect to a laptop, iPad, 3 devices at the same time via function 1, 2, 3. Okay, so not the F123. We've got to be very careful and keep that in mind. I will try and pair it with my phone to see how that goes. So it shows the 3 switch options that are available direct from the factory. Looks like Gateron switches. There's some, so Gateron blue switch. So there's some typing sounds. Features: 84 keys, wide wireless, 3 devices, allows Mac, Windows, 15 RGB, switch options, USB-C. Comes with a couple of different keycaps. Compact yet powerful. 4,000 milliamps. Obviously shows a couple of different things. There's a review from some other people and other products. So the physical details here that we're going to be looking at is ABS keycaps is what it comes with, aluminium front panel, some stuff that I can't really test like runtime. We are looking at 875 grams in theory, minus 10 to 50 degrees. Well, that's good if you want to go out to, I don't know, say somewhere in the US during winter, and probably out to Penrith in summer in Sydney. 50 degrees is probably about right. And some pictures. Okay, so that gives us the feel of the kind of features that it's trying to claim that it has. Let's get back onto the desktop. So I've got my trusty kitchen scales here, and we'll put that on to see if it weighs about that 875. Now, because this has actually been modified, it will weigh more than that. And if you haven't seen my video previously from the Sydney meetup video, then you'll see very shortly in that it's actually been painted. So TaeKeyboards has reviewed the keyboard, and to give it a bit of flair, he's actually made it Australian colors as best he can with the green and gold. So we've got the keyboard, it has a sleeve, still smells like paint. It's been sealed up, right? There is the manual. It's quite a thick manual, but I'm assuming it'll be in a couple of different languages. Yeah, so Chinese and English. We have a quick reference card, which is, I'm sure, pretty useful. I do love that on the bottom of it, it actually says, not happy, support@keychron.com. So you do have an option if you want to email them. And it's got some fold lines, I guess, if you want to do some kind of making it compact to tuck it in somewhere. I've got some TaeKeyboard stickers that have come with it. Now in here we've got, there's the USB-C cable, so it's a 90-degree angled plug, which is great, and of course the standard USB-A. There is a wire switch puller, which is actually pretty cool. It's a lot better than, you know, your traditional plastic ring puller, which is really horrible, to be honest. So that's quite nice that it comes with that. The only things that are not in this keyboard, and I was told by TaeKeyboards at the meetup about it, is that it doesn't have the extra switches, because not switches, keycaps, my bad, because the bottom row allows you to swap out between the Mac layout to Windows layout, the super key for Alt and Option key for the Windows key type of thing. But because it's already been custom modded, it technically doesn't matter, and that's why they're not in here. So let's just temporarily put that aside so we got some space. Let's take it out and have a look at first impressions of what we've got. Now, of course, as I said, it is modified in the color scheme. You can actually still see the legends on this as the texture print, and you can see it's the Mac option that was left on the keyboard by default that TaeKeyboards has painted over the top of. And what's really cool about this is that at the bottom it says Sydney Mech Meet 2019, love TaeKeyboards, and TaeKeyboards' signature. So it is definitely a collector's piece of sorts. He must have taken it apart, or he would have done some really great masking to do that two-tone spraying. So by the looks of it, you don't have to do anything to take it apart. From the bottom it comes apart because it has these sort of screws that are on the side. So first look, we can see on this side we've actually got a on, off, and cable option, and then we've got a Windows and Mac OS option, and then there's the right-angled USB-C, which explains why it comes with that cable. I suppose what is really interesting about it is it doesn't have the traditional cable port along the back like most keyboards do. So depending on your keyboard preference and layout on how it sits on a desk, if you're not a fan of having a cable coming out the side from the left-hand side, then that is going to be a consideration to perhaps operate this keyboard wirelessly. If your computer or your device doesn't have wireless capabilities, well, it shouldn't be too hard to just get a wireless dongle or adapter to suit. And then it gives you a much cleaner look. Then it's just plugging in the cable as required to charge the battery. Now it does have flip-out feet. It's a single height, and I guess probably looking at it, it's going to be standard sort of 5 to 7 degree tilt. I'm not going to measure it because I don't have anything to measure the angle with, but it's a comfortable angle just by default. Now we already know from the specs that it is ABS keycaps, but now that they've got an extra coat on top, I guess they're a little bit more protected from whatever materials that you might end up putting on it. So let's turn on the scales. Trusty kitchen scales that I do everything with, including baking my sourdough. And we're looking for 875 thereabouts depending on the paint, and we're well under 802. Now that's really interesting. $7.99 even. Nothing's contacting, and unless of course it's actually the desk mat that's absorbing. It's getting lighter every time I measure it. What is going on here? What is the science behind this? We got -8, so the tear is definitely not doing a good job. Let's just take that off so we have a hard surface. Let's go back to the hard surface. Back to 0. And that's not going to be contacting anything. Yeah, so it's about 801, 802, which is really interesting. That's a significant amount of weight that is missing by comparison. But it makes me think this is possibly then well, that's plastic, so that would explain it. So I think the weight that they're talking about here is not the metal case version. So you're only, oh no, but so the C series is 985 grams. I'll just flip it over to show you. So there, 985. I would expect that is the one that's got the aluminum case. So we're still short by 70 odd grams, unless of course when it's at fully charged power it actually weighs more. I don't know if it would weigh 70 grams more though. I don't think that's generally how the batteries work. Any case, it's about 800 grams. About 800 grams. So let's turn that off. Let's just put that aside. My wife's chair. Right. Flex test is next, I guess. So, it's pretty stiff. It's got a little bit of give, but it certainly doesn't hold any flex to it. I'm giving it a good push, and it's not maintaining that shape. And I can get it to flex, but it's putting a lot of force into it. So the plate and the actual case construction is quite rigid, which is really fantastic. Should give a great typing response. Now, if we're very careful and we take these caps off, because I don't want to accidentally scrape any of the paint off them, even though I've been told they have been clear coated, we can see that they are a relatively cheap-ish sort of ABS keycap, that translucent white kind of material, and well, yeah, there's the very fine coat of paint that's gone on top of it. Thickness wise, it's nothing terribly thick. It's just a standard roughly on 1 mil of that, and we can see it's definitely a red switch, and I can see it's definitely Gateron, and there is a RGB LED underneath that. I'm not sure if the camera will, yeah, there we go. The camera will show you that there is a north-facing RGB LED in there. Rightio, so that's the basic sort of look and features to it. I guess it's time to plug it in. Plug it in and then let's see what happens with the mode. So right now it's already in cable mode. That can go all the way in, and then okay, so we have light. Now if I'm just going to turn off the desktop light, there we go, we have some light. Now I don't know what the original keycaps would have looked like, because obviously they've been painted over, but the color that's been applied to it, it isn't so thick a coat that it's preventing 100% of light transmission, so you can see that there is still some legend lighting that's happening, that backlit, and of course you're getting that surround bleed coming through. Let's have a look at the card. Okay, so that's the connectivity. There is a light effect key, which is up here in the top corner. I can see that because it's now backlit. We've got some underglow happening. I'm guessing it's got some kind of, is that off? Okay, so we've got some RGB scattering, bit of rainbow pulsing, color transition, back and forth rails, circular pulsing from inside out. Bit psychedelic there. So it's just trailing from top to bottom. It's transitioning like a waterfall type of arrangement. Some random glittering waveform, like a sine wave. Rain, I guess, is probably what you could call this. I'm sure they have proper names, and that's seems to be starting to go back to yep, so we've gone all the way around. Now supposedly we can do color change, so if we just go all the way back to there we go, so that's all white, and then we follow this card which says function left or right, and we should be able to change colors. Okay, so there we go, so we're just changing some colors through that. Pretty cool. And so the card says it's got auto sleep, 10 minutes of idle, and you can also disable it if you want. You can switch between function and multimedia keys, not really needing to test it, and caps lock indicator. So there's no caps lock indicator for white backlit or RGB, so you'll have to check it on the device. So because this is RGB, then there's no caps lock indicator. So we can see that the RGB function works perfectly fine, and I'm just going to open up EK switch header. So the reason why I want to open up switch header is primarily for the purposes of just checking like the keys work as well as chatter. I wouldn't expect chatter to be an issue because Gateron red switches are normally pretty good, but we can just see if they all seem to be well and good. So delete is up the top there. None of those are coming up with any red lines at the moment. The arrow keys are okay, so we got end, home, page up, page down. So they all seem to work, and there's really no issues there with bounce or whatnot. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Now if I head back, let's have a look at some stabilizers because I didn't think about that. So let's take, well, that's a short shift, so that's not going to be really an issue with stabilizers. And they are plate mount stabilizers. So they're not PCB mount stabilizers. Plate mount stabilizers are actually quite common for OEM factory builds. I think it's just because of the simplicity for installation versus them having to be clipped into the PCB themselves. Now, because this has been modded, these stabilizers have also been extensively lubed by the looks of it, so much so that there's lube on the keycaps as well. I don't know if that's factory or if that's TaeKeyboards is doing. I would suspect it's probably TaeKeyboards is doing because, you know, he would build or create a really nice keyboard for somebody to actually utilize. Now I should probably be careful doing that while it's plugged in because I don't want it to accidentally stop my recording, would I? So let's just unplug that for the moment. Okay, let's go on to connectivity. So Bluetooth connectivity, I need to, how about I just plug that in and then I can type in Bluetooth settings, and then I can turn on Bluetooth for my computer. Then I can unplug it. Then let's switch to Bluetooth. Okay, now let's add Bluetooth device, Bluetooth mouse keyboard. So it's trying to find a Samsung 6 Series TV, which is definitely not mine. It's either downstairs or magically somewhere else, because it's definitely not mine. It's not. It's okay. So let's see. I need to go function 1 and see if that will help or not. It's on Windows Android setting and Bluetooth is set to on. So let's just cancel it and try again. It is on function 1. It's coming up again, once again with the Samsung 6 series TV. I'll show you. This is what it's trying to discover it. So let's go function 2. Nothing. Function 3. Nothing. I mean, it's got power because the keyboard's glowing and lit. Certainly not working. So, you know, there's the AM Pro, for example, that was previously paired, and you know, I've got other devices that are paired perfectly fine. I don't know what's going on. So maybe let's try something else. Let's just try that, and let's go back to function 1. Not function 2. Function 3 does not seem to want to connect. So, that's really interesting. Really interesting. I mean, it should be coming up according to this card as Keychron K2. So I don't know what is going on there. So as it says, I should be able to toggle it to Bluetooth, function 1, and pair with the device named Keychron. Function 1 for 3 seconds. Okay, got to read the manual, people. So let's try that again. Let's go to the device. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Maybe not. 1,000, 2,000. Oh, there we go. Keyboard connecting. Keychron K2. There we go. Okay, so it works perfectly fine, and it was a ID10 error right there. An ID10 error. Okay, so done. Good to go. Now let's bring up, say, a notepad. And let's bring the notepad so you can actually see what's going on there. And okay, works perfectly fine. Now I'm going to drop the microphone down and let's see how it sounds. Actually, I'm going to be careful with this because my microphone's a very sensitive beast. I'm going to try not shock it too badly because it is a ribbon mic. Okay, so here is the Keychron K2 with Gatoron red switches. Okay, so there's a bit of a light typing sample, and you can see that my Slack is going off in the corner, and they're talking about the new Zeal switch being released. So I don't know when you're going to see this video, but it's probably going to be old news by now. Should probably think about turning off stuff in the background, right? So there was a bit of a light sound sample. It's quite a light sound. I'm not going to say that there's any rich thock to it or anything of that nature because the keycaps are quite thin and it is actually quite a stiff keyboard. For, I guess, completeness, we've got some of the stabilized key sounds. So enter, backspace, spacebar, shift, left shift, right short shift. They are quite stable, and they do have just a very unfortunately cheap keycap sound to them. But that's not really surprising, is it? Since, well, they are cheap keycaps. Now just excuse me while I readjust my microphone. Okay, so that was pairing to my PC with Bluetooth without too much of a hassle. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and pair it to my phone. So here's my phone. It's a Samsung S7 hand-me-down. Handed down because it was dropped and busted. So no real good selfies. Because the crack goes right across the front selfie camera, but it still worked perfectly fine, and you know, I don't really take that many selfies anyway. So let's just unlock the front screen and let's turn on Bluetooth. So there we go, Bluetooth devices. We can, well, you probably can't see it because the reflection is too bright, but let's go function 2 for 3 seconds and see if it comes up. That was more than 3 seconds, so let's see if it will detect it or not. Let's try that again. Function 1000, 2000, 3000. It's still scanning. It was quite slow trying to pick up on the computer, so I'm wondering if it's going to be potentially slow picking up on the phone as well. But it's still not doing anything, so let's try again. 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000. Now I can kind of see that there is a light that you can see it's pulsing there, so it is trying to pair, and I don't know if my phone is doing a good job of picking it up. Let's go into the Bluetooth menu. There we go. Keychron K2. It did find it. I just had to go into the proper menu. So Bluetooth keyboard connected. Keychron K2 connected as a input device. So there you go, Keychron K2. So you can see it's down at the bottom. It's now connected, and then it's connecting and disconnecting. What is it doing? Okay, so it's connected. And it's still going nuts. It's gone crazy nuts. Okay, so I have to select it, and external keyboard, it's gone crazy. What are you doing? Hello? Stop doing that. It seems to be just hopping around all over the place, connecting and disconnecting very rapidly. And this is itself is trying to pair to it, so I'm not sure. Alright, look. Stop doing it. Okay. Let's go back on. Right, now it's back on. The K2 is down the bottom, and I'm still seeing the Samsung 6 Series TV. It's Bluetooth, so it's got to be within like 10 meters of me. It must be down the stairs or next door. Anyway, I don't have a Samsung 6 Series TV. Unable to connect to the Keychron. So let's go 1, 2, 3. Okay, keyboard is connected and it's disconnected again. Keyboard is connected and disconnected. What on earth is it doing? Alright, let's just ignore that for the moment. Let's try and bring up something so I can type in it. I do have like some kind of memo app here. Okay, so here's a memo app, and so it is working. It's doing perfectly fine on the phone. It's just behaving very oddly. So I'm just going to discard that. I'm just wondering if it's waiting for you to actually start inputting it before it stabilizes that connection, because that was just, see, once again it's connecting and disconnecting when I disconnected it. It's just popping on and off, on and off. So after I use it, let's just give that a try again. Let's have a new one. Okay, so I'm just typing stuff into it. Then it is now stable. It's now stable. It's now stable. Okay, so discard. Yeah, and by the way, none of these numbers that are actually in my app are sensitive numbers, so yeah. Yep, it works. It works. It pairs to my computer, pairs to my phone perfectly fine. So I'm just going to turn that off. Cool bananas. Now I don't have a Mac, so I can't test it in Mac mode, and I'm just going to switch it over to cable mode, because I guess if you switch it to cable mode, it's the equivalent of it being switched off. And my desktop is, sorry, my camera white balance is gone very blue because it's trying to balance against my phone. Okay, what can I say in conclusion? It's quite a decent keyboard for less than $100 US, with Bluetooth capability, with some fancy lighting. It's quite rigid. It's got a good amount of weight to it, but it's not excessively heavy, and I guess that's going to be related to the battery more than anything else. This particular version, of course, has been modified, so I can't say much about the finish of the original keycaps, besides that they are cheap ABS keycaps and they're thin, and sound wise, you know, they have that thin keycap sound to it. Other than that, the cable itself that it comes with is it's a plastic coat cable. It's not braided. It does have a sort of loop isolator in there to reduce noise, but you know, it's nice and flexible. It's got what seems to be and feels like at least a quality construction, and it's not super dirt cheap, so that's always nice. And yeah, I don't think there's really any other additional features for me to talk very heavily about. So that's the review for the Keychron K2 keyboard. I think it would suit people who are going to be traveling and pairing up with different devices on a regular basis. Weight-wise, you know, it's comparable to something like the An Pro. Very similar weight range, I believe, from memory. So, you know, a kilo, less than a kilo, is not that big a deal for sticking it in a backpack. It's no worse than, say, a liter of water if you're going to be carrying it around. Yeah, certainly would suit most users. That's it. Wow, half an hour. I did not realize. Half an hour of reviewing this keyboard. So, like I said, this one's very special because it came from the Sydney Mechanical Keyboard Meetup, and it's signed and whatnot from Andrew. And I want to make it a little bit more special because I want to raffle this away. And right now, as I speak, a very large portion of Australia is on fire. It's on fire because of bushfires, natural events, as well as stupid idiots who have deliberately lit fires. Honestly, being somebody in this country, if you've grown up here and you know about how bad bushfires affect this country, there is something not mentally right up here if you go around deliberately lighting fires during bushfire season or any time of the year. Anyway, a little bit of a rant over. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a form that will be in the description of this video below. Okay, and if you would like a chance to win this, what I'm asking is for you to donate to any of the official bushfire causes out there. So it could be to the Rural Fire Service, it could be to your local, fire community, it could be to Salvation Army or Red Cross Appeals or any of those. And you will need to have proof of your donation, which will have your name in some kind of recognizable format. It doesn't matter how much you donate. It can be as low as $2. It can be $1 million if you have $1 million to spend. So any celebrities out there who've been throwing large amounts of cash, if you're into mechanical keyboards and you want a chance to win this autographed keyboard, then hey, get your name on the form, provide that snapshot, and you will be in with a chance to win. So I'm planning to release this video at the end of this week, which will be approximately the 12th of January if everything goes according to schedule. I want to give people plenty of time to be able to make their donations, see this video, and actually get that entry in. So Australia Day is the 26th, and that's basically in a fortnight or so, 2 weeks from the 12th. So because it's green and gold, let's do this for Australia Day. For Australia, for all the thousands of people and businesses and the animals and the environment that's been so dramatically, so devastatingly affected by our bushfires. Make a donation, screen cap it, fill in your name, email, and a link like on Imager or Google Images or somewhere that you can put your donation evidence. Of course, censor it so no private information is going to be leaked out there besides the fact that you've gone and done a good deed. And then we will do a draw for Australia Day for this keyboard. Now, what I'm going to do to make this a little bit even more special, or maybe less special, I don't know if it will be a turn-off for you or not, but let's go and put, say, 2020 Bushfire fundraising. Love board podcast. There we go. Double whammy from the Australian keyboard community. So I will be careful with that, and I will give it another clear coat because I've got some stuff here and a rattle can to give it a bit of protection. And then we will make this keyboard head out there into the wider world. I will pay and cover shipping, naturally, to anywhere in the world that wins this keyboard. So lots of love to everybody out there, and thank you for supporting everybody basically around the country who is in a great time of need. So thank you very much for checking out this video. The usual, like, subscribe, share, especially to get that message out there for a chance to win this Keychron K2 with RGB and Gateron Reds. Hope you like the video, and comments below, feedback, so on and so forth. So, of course, as I like to finish with, as usual, until next time, happy clacking.